If you have everything strategized out in systems and processes on how to onboard people, how to run trucks, and people can run it in your absence, that means your business is more valuable to an investor. And then all they have to do is hire a general manager to come in place once they buy you out to run your business, and your business can continue to print money for that investor versus you as a business owner walking away and then the business crumbles.
Hiccups there, but we're back. How you doing, Marvin?
Wonderful. Amazing. How are you?
I'm great. How did your speech go at the huge convention?
Really, really well. We needed at least another hour. Oh, it was so good.
Yesterday, I saw you both on Payjack's podcast. That was pretty epic, man.
Yes,
the lawn care millionaire.
Oh, yeah.
I told him the lawn care billionaire here.
No,
the way he's going.
Yeah. He might get there before too long.
Yeah. I don't know where he's at, but he's on his way.
It took a little extended vacation.
2 years.
Sometimes you got to do that.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So how's things down in Texas?
Hot right now. Oh my God, it's ridiculously hot. It's been 110 like every day for a month.
What city in Texas are you in?
Tyler, Texas.
Okay.
It's a little bitty town about 90 miles east of Dallas. So we're in East Texas. It's the pretty side of Texas with all the grass and trees.
Is that sarcasm or?
No, seriously.
Oh, you have grass in Texas?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I imagine it was like, I don't know, like dirt.
No.
Cows.
Not in East Texas. No, lots of grass and trees. It's real pretty.
Okay.
Matter of fact, our town is the rose capital of the world.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we export more roses than anybody else.
Okay. So tell us I know it's been a roller coaster business, but give everyone the 90-second abbreviated version of who you are.
So I started my landscaping business 20-something years ago. I come from nothing. My family doesn't have money or whatever. And in college, I remember I wasn't making enough money. And I asked my dad, I was like, hey, I need to make some more money. I'm not really making ends meet. Do you have any ideas? He said, let me think about it. I'll call you back. About an hour later, he called me back and he said, why don't you go do what you know how to do? He told me, he said, go mow yards. You know how to do that. And so that's how I got started. Started with a push mower, a weed eater, and a blower out of the back of my girlfriend's car, who is now my wife.
Oh, okay.
21 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that's how I got started. I mean, I literally push mower, weed eater, a blower, printed up some really awful, crappy flyers and passed them out and started growing. Built that business up. This was up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Sold it off. Moved to Tyler in June of 2003 and started over. We've built the business up. I merged with another company. We got really big, really fast. And then my partnership fell apart. It was really toxic, really bad. Left that partnership in October of 2016 and I started completely over. Since October of 2016, we have rebuilt and we went from virtually nothing to last year we closed out at 5 million in sales. In the past couple of years, we've literally grown 1,500% in the past 2 or 3 years. We've been on the Inc. 5,000 list for the past 2 years running, and that's the 5,000 fastest growing privately held companies in America list. And we continue to grow. We actually just rebranded the last week. We did a soft launch last week, and we pivoted from Salcido Lawn to Salcido Home Solutions.
Nice.
And now we're opening up to more service offerings where you have a HVAC company coming on board, maid service, garage doors, and home remodeling.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm looking for more companies to buy out.
So you spoke here at the huge convention. I missed it. I was in here podcasting, but you spoke about mergers and acquisitions.
Yes, sir.
Things of that nature. So fill us in.
Oh, man. So I love the mergers and acquisition space. I've done about 24 deals in my lifetime. Not all of them have been successful, but that's okay. So I've started to grow my knowledge in the space, and now I consult on it. I help other people in the service industry with the mergers and acquisition space. And, we're approaching on one of the largest transfers of wealth in human history or in recorded history. We have a massive amount of baby boomers that are about to retire. And so we literally have trillions of dollars that are going to be changing hands in the next 10 years. Well, the problem is that only about 20% of businesses that go up for sale actually sell.
Wow.
They either can't find a buyer or the deal falls apart during the sale, or they make the transition and it falls apart shortly thereafter. The majority of the businesses that go up for sale end up getting the Viking funeral. They end up just shutting the business down and just turning them out to pasture and wishing them the best. That happens far too often. And when we have this many businesses that are coming up for sale or coming up with some sort of transition in the very near future, why not capitalize on that and us as investors be able to swoop in and not take advantage of people, but to capitalize on the opportunity and be able to snag these businesses up. Don't give them the Viking funeral and allow these people to retire with dignity.
Out of these 24 deals, was those people you've helped, or where'd that come from?
The deals I've helped. Those are deals that I've personally done.
Where you've purchased other companies?
I've either purchased or sold companies. I've purchased far more than I've sold. I've only sold a couple personally. I've helped other deals go through, but some of them have been really, really tiny deals, $1,000 deals, where I purchased client lists, stuff like that. And then I've done all the way up into the, the $1 million range. And, I've purchased people out that have been twice the size of my company. And I've made deals or have been in negotiations on even far bigger deals to buy out other companies. Not all of them go through, but you got to knock on a few doors and you got to try stuff before it works out.
Let's do the selling part. You sold your business.
Yeah.
What was the main mistakes you made on that, and what did you learn from selling a business?
Don't sell to family.
What does that mean?
So I sold a deal to a brother-in-law.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It's been 20 years. He still owes me money.
Your wife's brother.
Yeah, brother is a stepbrother, something like that.
But that relationship's fractured since.
It's not a big deal. It's water under the bridge. He didn't owe me a whole lot, but he stopped paying me over time, and
Thanksgiving seems a little different.
Yeah, a little bit. That's all right.
But no, I'm glad you shared that, because
since then,
if you are going to sell it, don't even take the chance.
You can, as long as there's lots and lots of clarity and, you have a very open relationship and you're able to work through a lot of the stuff prior to selling. Problem that happens with a lot of generational transfer is that, let's say the dad wants to sell the business to the son or daughter or whatever. Well, they've grown up they've built this business up for years and years, and they want this really high multiple because they plan on retiring with this. Well, the problem is their business isn't always necessarily worth what they want. Well, because it's such a weird dynamic between father and son or father and daughter, they don't want to hurt their feelings and they want to honor their parents. And so they end up giving them what it is that they're asking for. Well, the business is not always able to support that. And so the business ends up failing because they can't support the payment and pay them as the new owner. And so it ends up hurting the business, hurting the relationship, and the business ends up failing. So unless there's a very open and honest negotiations, I don't always suggest selling.
Yeah, stay away from family on the sale.
Yeah.
In most cases, that would make sense. Anything else you learned in the selling for you, the seller part? Did you hire a business broker? Did you hire insurance banking? I heard JP
the deals I had were really small deals.
Okay.
And this was 20 years ago. Since then, everything I've done has been collecting.
So how does that go to protect yourself then? Like, you have attorneys and everything as you're going by?
Every deal I do is written up by an attorney.
Okay.
My attorney told me a long time ago, if it's not written down, it never happened.
Exactly.
And so I don't do handshake deals. I don't care who you are. I don't care how long I've known you. It is trustworthy as you are. I'm still going to have it written down because I want there to be clarity on both sides.
Yeah.
Both what you should expect from me and what I should expect from you.
So when you're buying a company, how do you do this valuation?
Oh man, that's far too much to talk about right here, but I can give you the snapshot. So, I got to look at everything from how much money it's making, just gross revenue, what's the net profit, what's the culture look like in the business, do they have a lot of employee turnover, do they have a lot of long-standing employees, do they have systems and processes, is everything built around the owner? So if the owner exits the company, is there going to be a problem? Or is there's enough systems and processes set up so that if the owner does exit, it's not a big deal? Do they have good equipment, or am I going to have to replace the equipment shortly after? Are they paying all the employees appropriately? Because a lot of times, they haven't necessarily given raises when they should, and the employees are underpaid. Well, what ends up happening is shortly after the transfer of ownership, The new owner comes in and says, oh, I think you should give everybody raises. Well, they bought it based on this evaluation, not based on the new evaluation of giving everybody raises. Man, there's so much. Is it a like service offering? Is everything priced appropriately? Do they have contracts? Is everything a handshake deal? Do they have one customer that makes up more than 20% of the service? Or, is everything made up of a bunch of smaller customers? All that makes a difference in the evaluation of the business.
So how does it go then when you have that number? Do you present that to them, or do they present you a number? I'm sure it goes back and forth quite a bit. How does all that work?
So I've always been a fan of he who talks first loses. And so I always try to get them to give me a number first. And it helps me to know what ballpark I'm playing in, because they may come to the table with a number that is more fair than what I would have offered. And I'll be like, oh yeah, absolutely, let's do that. Because in my evaluation, I may have come up with, it's a $2 million business, but he only wants $1 million for it. Well, I'm not going to negotiate myself up to $2 million. If he only wants $1 million, I'll give the guy $1 million. He'll be happy for it. But he may also want $3 million, but it's only worth $2 million. And so I always do my best. Not everybody's willing to do this, but I try and get them to give me a number first.
So if they say $1 million, you just cut them a check for $1 million and you get all the equipment and you get the employee. Like, how does it work?
That's all in the negotiations.
Okay.
So it all depends on how the business is going to be transferred. Is the owner going to stay on work for a while? Is there going to be an earn out? So he has to earn the payout over so many years. You could do a structured annuity to where I pay you out over 5 or 10 years. Think of it like the lottery. You win the lottery, you get a big check up front, or you can get paid out over time. If you get paid out over time, you make more money than if you get the big check up front. So if I'm going to pay you up front, I have to get a discounted deal, because that's going to cost me actual money, because I have to go to a bank, or it has to come out of my pocket to be able to stroke that check. And so I need to get a discount for that, because I'm writing you a big old fat check up front.
Mm-hmm. And you've done several of those deals.
I've done both ways, where I've structured it out in an annuity and I pay it out over time. Because you got to remember, say you come in and we agree on a $2 million price. Well, if I write you a check up front, your $2 million on day one, you're going to lose approximately 60% of that to taxes.
Wow.
Not only
how so 60?
So you have capital gains tax and income tax.
Wow.
And so you're going to lose a huge chunk of that from day one. Whereas if I pay you out over 5 or 10 years, you spread your liability out. And instead of walking away with, what was that, 1.4 million, you're going to go home with a little closer to 2 million. You'll go home with 1.8 million or something like that. After everything's said and done, you pay your taxes out over several years. You spread your liability out.
Yeah. Most guys watching Marvin are maybe in, 250,000 to 1 million annual revenue, first, second, third, fourth year. We're talking young business, not young in age,
yeah,
but young in business owners.
Yeah.
What's your tip to them as they're building it, so when they go to sell it one day, they'll get top dollar?
So think about, whenever you're starting a business, what's your exit plan? What do you want to do? Because you're going to exit your business one day, whether you like it or not. And so if you plan with the exit in mind and you work backwards, you're going to get your best multiples at when you do exit. Mm-hmm. So you're going to want to grow. You want to make sure that everything is priced appropriately, that you have contracts in place, that you're replacing your equipment on a strategic basis. Not that everything has to be replaced every third year. You want to spread that out. And then as you grow, you want to maximize how much net profit you have. And most business owners minimize how much net profit they have because they don't want to pay taxes. Well, that has the opposite effect for you whenever you go to sell, because I have to look at what the numbers say, not off of what your tax guy tells me or what you can, well, if you do this and this and this, it's going to be worth this. Well, I'm sorry, but that's not what your numbers say.
Good, Marvin.
I have to go off the facts, not off of emotion. And so, 3 to 5 years before you're ready to sell, you need to maximize as much profit into your business as possible, make your business as lean as possible, is the more EBITDA or the more net profit you can pull.
Say that word again.
EBITDA.
Well, no, what's that?
So that's earning before taxes and depreciation.
Earnings before tax
and depreciation.
Okay.
EBITDA. It's basically it's net profit. If you can maximize your net profit, let's say as a tax strategy, you were only squeezing out 5% net because you didn't want to pay a lot of taxes. Well, 3 to 5 years out, you want to show that you're really running 20 to 30% net profit, and it's going to suck, but you're going to have to pay those taxes. But when you go to sell, you're going to be able to base that off of 30% net.
You talked about systems and processes. How important is it to get all of that really tight?
It's so important because the more the business runs without the business owner to where not everything revolves around him, for me as an investor, the more profitable or the more enticing it is to buy that business. Because if everything revolves around you as the business owner, and if you get sick or you die and the business completely falls apart, what does that say whenever you exit the business? Virtually the same thing is going to happen. But if you have everything strategized out in systems and processes on how to onboard people, how to run trucks, and people can run it in your absence, that means your business is more valuable to an investor. And then all they have to do is hire a general manager to come in place once they buy you out to run your business, and your business can continue to print money for that investor versus you as a business owner walking away and then the business crumbles.
So good. Well, I really appreciate your time, Marvin.
Thank you so much.
I know you just spoke and you're on podcast, and I don't want to overstay my welcome here. Make sure you check out Marvin. He was on with Jonathan Potoshnik, who sold a business for a big old amount of money.
Couple of dollars.
So if you want more of Marvin, we're going to honor his time here. He could talk business for hours.
Oh, yes.
Listen to LCR Media Podcast. Look him up on Andrew Martinez, Lone Star, and then Profits with Payjack. They seem to go a lot longer there. But I want to honor your time, so thanks so much, Marvin.
Hey, thank you for having me.